Hi, Lee. Thank you for taking the time to answer a few questions for me today. Um, can you give me some idea what your experience has been with the child welfare system where you work?
One of the things that I've noticed and that I've experienced is the follow up and the accessibility. Sometimes it's hard to work around everyone's schedule, and when you're looking at assessing individuals' needs and trying to offer support for an individual, you want to make sure and ensure that you um, are able to connect all the gaps, for a person, so you can satisfy all their needs and to make sure that they're getting the all the services that they deserve.
Okay. Do you find that working with the child welfare system, do you find it helpful? Or, and do they take care of your needs where you're employed?
Yes, they take care of my individual needs, but with the limited resources that we have, and with all the budget cuts from the government, our resources are limited, and the resources that we have to offer our clientele, that's where the challenge is. So being able to utilize the resources that you do have and making sure you're bridging the gaps for, or you're connecting the bridges for your clientele. That's the challenge right there. Making sure that you have all the resources and all the filling all the gaps.
Okay. Um, if there's a best part of dealing with the system, uh, what would you say it would be?
I say the best part is um, our ability to help people, to help increase their quality of life, and linking them up with the different services that they may need. Um, I think that's the most rewarding part of
Mm-hmm.
the job. And I think even though we have the challenges, we still have to fulfill, you know, a duty to our clientele. So we're going to make sure that we take those resources that we do have at our access, that and we will make sure that we put them in place, and create a plan that's going to be successful. That's going to allow them to be successful.
And what would the worst part of it be?
I'd say the worst part is um, not not having all the resources that you would like to have at your disposal.
Mm-hmm.
And when you sometimes you have a client, who is hard to work with, um, that's not even the problem. The problem is when you're trying to link them up with resources, and you don't have you're not getting the follow up, and you're relying on the people. So when you have to rely on someone, to call you back, and you're not getting the phone call back right away, I think that is the most difficult time to deal with.
So you call that the challenges too.
Yes.
Um, what what do you find about the system that's the least helpful?
The least helpful is um, when your hands are tied and you don't have like based on the client's needs, when you don't have the accessibility, to reach out because of the funding. I think that's the least helpful, is when you don't have the funding, and you have to try to make it work with the limited resources that you have.
Mm-hmm. Um, would you say that the benefits of having those services in your work are they worth?
I say the benefits of having the services at your fingertips, is that when based on the client's needs, you can pinpoint or you can assess the situation, and it's easier for you to, the more resources you have and um, the more the more resources you have, the easier it is to satisfy or help someone.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have the limited money or limited funding, that's what makes it a challenge. That's what makes it difficult for you to service your clientele.
So how do you think the child welfare system could better serve you?
I think we need to increase the resources, and we need to allow, we need to grant more funding, so we can get more resources instead of cutting the resources, because we have more clients than we have resources.
Mm-hmm.
And in order for you to, successfully work with those clients, we need the resources and the funding in order to successfully serve that population.
So, this is kind of off the beaten path a little bit, but what do you say you like or dislike about working with service providers?
Well, we have several service providers, and I think my challenge with the service providers is you have to know exactly, what service providers, where the conflicts are. Like, because certain service providers were only, they will only deal with certain, certain issues, and so for example, we have a certain service provider for drug and alcohol. We have a certain service provider for mental health, and then we have some that do it all. They do mental health, they do drug and alcohol, they do rehabs, they do Social Security, so they do food stamps. So that's the problem. Like, we have to make sure that there's no conflict between service providers, and we build those relationships with the different service providers to make sure that whatever they have to offer, this is what we're utilizing them for.
Mm-hmm. And are there any skills that you think that the workers are lacking?
I say the more education they have about the different clients that we deal with and the different needs, I think the better. I think that all the service providers and all the social workers just need to be trained on all different scenarios, so you can best be prepared to deal with all the different scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
So the more training, the better. That's how I feel. The more training, the better.
Well, I would like to thank you for taking the time out for this interview today, and hopefully we'll keep working together and we see some more improvement happening.
Thank you. I appreciate it.